Okay, a few things have come to light on this thing. One thing is the cowl. It is Ford, and the doors probably are too, mixed matched. Somebody said the door handle here was below the body line or the trim, and this one's actually on the trim. So yeah, the two different doors. Not a big deal. I mean, don't bother me a bit. And like I said, when I went to look at this thing, I did not look at. I wasn't, putting my mind on the body. I wasn't putting my mind on any of that. I wanted to see how well the fabrication was done. That was my most important thing. And so I didn't see a fuel fill in the center. I didn't think nothing about it. There is a tank under it, or the partial tank where they've cut it out. So I think, what we have here is, 28, 29, 30, I don't know, 30, 31 Model A. Really don't matter. Just, the guy that I got this from, he didn't build it, so I'm sure he didn't know. I just didn't pay any attention to it. But still don't matter either way. But the other thing that somebody had mentioned that I read, and I never thought about this. If you notice, okay, our rod knock's in the back, and I'm thinking it's probably number 6. And if you notice, there is a gun pointing down the dipstick too. So we're thinking that what possibly could have happened is if that gun was shot and it was actually moved at the right angle, because you can move it back and forth just a little bit here, it may have, because of that oil pan being oily like it is, ricocheted off the bottom of the oil pan. Now, if the trajectory was right and it bounced up and hit, on the nut in the right spot, you figure that nut's torqued at 45 foot-pounds, and it may have backed it back down to, I'm guessing, with the power of the gun and being a 22 short, probably down to about 15 foot-pounds of torque. And if it did that, I did a little math and I figured out that it probably went about 15 miles before it would have started knocking. But that's where I ran into the problem. I don't know whether it started knocking slowly and got worse, or if it just started and just did it. So it's a possibility now, if the gun was moved in the right direction and the crank was in the perfect place, that when it hit it, it actually hit the oil pan and bounced up, of course, and because it wouldn't do it any other way, and come up and hit the rod bolt and over torqued it. And I was figuring at 45 foot-pounds, if it torqued it up to about 80, I did a little more math, come to the conclusion that I think it probably would have made it about 15 miles before that bolt would have snapped. And too much pressure stretched it out, and with the hardness that I think that GM would have put on that bolt, that's about how long it would have lasted. So it actually probably broke that bolt then and then instantly started knocking. So if it did it the first way, it may have run a while and wore the crank. If it done it the second way and broke quick, I probably run it enough to ruin the crank. So we're screwed either way. But there's another possibility that if this gun happened to be turned in this direction and pushed over that way, when it went off, if it bounced twice, it would have hit the oil pan and then come up and hit the side of the block and bounced over. There's a good chance it may have hit the skirt on the piston. But I thought about that. If the skirt was up in the cylinder, chances are it wouldn't have done anything.
But if it hit the cylinder below the piston, it may have come in and broke the skirt on the piston, or if the piston was sticking down far enough where it would have hit the skirt and didn't have anything behind it to support it, it could have broke it off and it'd be laying in the bottom of the oil pan. So there's a good chance that maybe it's just a skirt on the piston's broke. So I don't know. I can't think of any other thing it could have done, or anything else that would have caused that. But anyway, blah 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 blah.
Okay. Later the same day, been working on motorcycle and running costs. So I figured I would let's get this thing off the ground and see if we can figure out what's really wrong with it. Looks like star's going to come down, and that's probably about it. So let me get some tools. We'll roll this back and get the front up on the rollback so I can raise it up, and we're going to actually find out what that noise is. Somebody had mentioned top end noise, push rod coming through rocker, whatever. The guy had already pulled the valve cover and checked all that. So, and actually it's still loose on there. So good guy. He wasn't a BSer. He's, stand up guy. So, I don't have any doubt he took care of that. We got, like I said, bottom end issues. If we're really, really, really lucky, it's going to be a busted piston. I doubt it. I think we're gonna have a rod bearing out, but we'll know here in a few minutes. All right, let's start with the Earl here. Get Earl out of there. Black. It could be worse. You know, the good thing about it being black is if he ran it low and he put new oil in it, then it should be clearer than that. So, who knows? Get this drained out. We'll get the starter off, get the pan and the cover off. I'm trying to hurry because it's going to get dark on us. It's late. I really don't have time to do it, but I'm doing it anyway because I want to. Okay, we got us a flashlight. Don't look like I see any. I know I'm not showing you very good here. I don't see any piston issues, skirts or anything off. Alright, let me see if I can figure out which one it is here. I don't feel no movement in it, but there's gotta be, you know. Gotta be some play in one of these. I'm definitely not seeing any skirts broke on pistons or nothing like that. I doubt it's a wrist pin because it's not enough of a thud. So I think maybe we'll pull. Let me turn it over and see if I see anything or feel anything, and then, you know, if we need to, we'll start pulling caps and checking bearings. All right. Okay, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I am not seeing anything. I'm not finding anything. I'm not feeling anything. And one thing about it is, you know, usually if you mess the bearing up very bad, the rod cap will be dry because of the heat. It won't have a lot of oil on it. It'll be discolored. And I'm just not seeing that. I'm not finding anything. So I'm going to go ahead and pull. I'm going to go up there and pull the valve cover. I'm sure it's not in the rockers. The crank rotates twice to the cams once, and usually when it's something in the top end, and I'm sure that it's not, but when it's something in the top end, it's not as fast of a knock as what the knock was that we heard. So I just don't think it's in the top end. I may go ahead and pull this bearing. I don't know. I think I'll do that. I think I'll pull number 6, and let's just see what kind of shape it's in. Okay, let's see if we can get the cap off. There we go. Yeah. Nothing wrong with the bearing, nothing wrong with the journal. Everybody laughing at me yet? I didn't see that bullet in here anywhere. Alright. Alright, folks. Nothing. Put the cap back on. Put the valve cover and check it. I still don't think that's what it is. But we're going to pull it and look just for the heck of it. Alright. Okay, just as I thought, nothing. No rockers loose, no push rods through the rockers, no rockers off. I didn't see any springs broke. Nothing along them sorts. All feels good. So, going right back to the bottom end. I could jack up one side of it, maybe pull the plugs out and spin the wheel. Get somebody to spin the wheel and see if I can hear any noise clunking or clicking or, I don't know. Pull some more main bearings, I don't know. I don't feel any play in any of them. None of them are real tight like they spun a bearing. You know, there's enough back and forth in play that you can tell that, you know, they're not spun and tightened up on the crank, which wasn't, you know, trying to lock anyway. But got me puzzled on this one. It sure sounded like a rod bearing to me. When I drove it, you know, normally when you give something gas or you let off, you know, you get a noise one way or the other. This thing was doing it every time. And when I shoved the clutch in to come to a stop, I could still hear it. And hear it on the way down when the engine was coming down. And which is kind of unusual. Okay, pulled the plugs out. 1 through 4 and number 6 all came out with what looked like to me too big of a gap. And number 5 came out with a terrible look to it. Something has caught that thing. So that's making me wonder if number 5 don't maybe have a drop valve or something. I don't know. Something on top of the piston, beating around. Right here by that gun. I wonder if somebody maybe shot a hole down to it. Alright, let me get the flashlight and see if I can see anything through the hole. Okay, I am seeing nothing. But I'm reckoning that one of them little cameras that go down through the hole would be sure nice to have, wouldn't it? Now them spark plugs are not too long. This takes the long plugs. You can see it goes a ways before the threads start. Solid noise. It don't sound like something that's rolling around in there. So I'm even more confused now than I was before. But at least we're making headway. Alright, I think we've done everything we can do without pulling ahead to try to figure it out. But I think that's going to be the issue. Something in there. I have no idea what it is and how it got in there. But next episode of this car, we'll all know what's in there. Alright. Appreciate everybody watching. Till next time. Bye.